27 degrees, a wind chill at 14. But take a look at the flag. Right now, around 15 miles per hour, but gusting, we're told, up to 30 to 35 miles per hour. Cleveland has won the toss, deferred to get the ball until the second half. And yet another chance to become the all-time leader in return touchdowns for Devin Hester. He is tied 19 with Deion Sanders.
Well, and special teams were huge last week in the league in terms of all the weather. Right now, the turf looks good. Shouldn't be a factor, but Devin Hester, always a factor when he can get his hands on the ball.
A huge game for the Chicago Bears. An identical record atop the NFC North with Detroit. But the Lions swept the season series against the Bears, thus own the tiebreaker. Billy Cundiff deep into the end zone. And 9 yards in it. Hester out across the 25 and a good return up to the 32-yard line. Jay Cutler starts for the first time since injuring his left ankle back on November the 10th in one of those losses to Detroit. You take a look at some of the numbers, and Brian, as you pointed out, both quarterbacks with 13 touchdowns, but McCown only 1 interception.
And that's the key today. Jay Cutler cannot force the ball down the field, let the game come to him. He knows that, but he's still Jay Cutler, and he's got that eye-popping arm ability.
Forte in the backfield. He's had back-to-back 100-yard rushing games. They turn around and hand it off to him. And a good gain on first down. That'll be up to the 44-yard line. A 12-yard pickup on first down for Matt Forte. Of course, this Chicago offense has plenty of weapons for Jay Cutler.
It can begin with Matt Forte, but look at the skill positions with tight end Martellus Bennett, Alshon Jeffrey, and Brandon Marshall. The monsters of the Midway may be the best receiving tandem in the National Football League.
Well, right now, that duo is the leading duo among all teams in the National Football League in both receptions and receiving yards. Once more, they'll hand it off to Forte. Now, this Cleveland defense ranked 7th overall in the NFL, 4th against the run, 8th against the pass.
Well, on the inside of Taba Rubin and DeQuell Jackson, they've got to handle the inside running game of Matt Forte and Joe Hayden and T.J. Ward. They're going to draw the task of handling these monsters of the Midway and the tight end Martellus Bennett.
Joe Hayden considered among the very best cornerbacks in all of the NFL.
Tuesday.
On a second down and 6 from the 48. Cutler, his first throw, a safe one. Spinning out of a tackle is Forte, then swarmed by the Browns defensively. That'll be a gain of 2, and it brings up the first. Big third down for Chicago.
Delay game penalty.
So third down and 2 becomes third down and 7. Cutler drops it off across the middle. And the catch is made by Martellus Bennett, the big tight end, a first down to the Browns' 30-yard line.
Jay Cutler, let's remember now, Jay Cutler's been out of the offense for about a month. They have gotten steadily better. We had them early on, Tom. You saw the talent when you've got Bennett at tight end, Jeffrey and Marshall outside with Forte out of the backfield, an offensive line that's got 2 rookies that are no longer rookies. This offense is playing very, very well, and Jay Cutler comes back into a very talented group that's playing very, very well.
Throw it on first down across the middle, and the catch is made by Brandon Marshall. And that is the first down to the Cleveland 13-yard line. Right on the button, those last throws for Cutler.
They're just bunched up right there. Now they split. Martellus Bennett down the seam. That opens up the inside route for Brandon Marshall. Jay Cutler looks awful comfortable right now. Sat very comfortably in the pocket. Didn't have to move around much. If they don't get more pressure on Jay Cutler, he's going to cut him up.
Well, that has been a big story with this Cleveland defense. They went from the 4-3 to the 3-4. As you see, the very impressive numbers once again this year for Brandon Marshall. But up until last week against New England, not getting a lot of sacks out of the guys at 3-4 is designed to get sacks from. And a dangerous throw, and it's intercepted in the end zone to Sean Gibson. Out across the 20, and still on his feet to the 27. The turnover by Cutler in the end zone. In nearly 2 months. Now the Browns offensively, they're without their regular starting running back Willis McGahee today. Campbell a pump fake on first down and incomplete under heavy pressure. Took a big hit from Jeremiah Ratliff on first down.
Well, let's go back and look at what happened here. And I know there's a whole bunch of folks in Chicago throwing stuff at their TV. This is not a bad throw. You got the matchup you want with T.J. Ward. Need to lead a little bit. The ball did get deflected. But when you have these big receivers, you're going to put it up on the rim. You're going to rely on them to bring it down. Unfortunate set of circumstances for Jay Cutler, but this is exactly what we talked about, that you can't have the turnovers.
And it off on first down, and that's close to a first down for Edwin Baker. First time he has touched the ball in the NFL. Just signed off the Houston Texans practice squad earlier this week. Originally, Baker was a 7th-round draft choice back when Norv Turner was the head coach in San Diego.
Yeah, Joe Thomas and Alex Mack set the pace for the offensive line. And we talked about big receivers. They got a couple here in Cleveland with Josh Gordon and Jordan Cameron.
Cameron and Josh Gordon both eclipsing 100 receiving yards in that devastating loss last week. Controversial loss last weekend in New England. Play clock down to 1, and they just do get it off. Quick throw into the hands of Little, and he's across midfield. Inside the 40, down to the 20, and tackled at the 18-yard line is Greg Little.
Down here at the bottom of the screen, we see it every week. These one-step quick screens, and then it's an absolute jailbreak with the offensive line of the Cleveland Browns out in front. Look at those big guys down in front of Little. Huge game with just a simple one-step screen to Little on the outside. Those are the kind of passes the quarterbacks love to have. Low risk, high reward.
Leading receivers in each of the last 2 years, but now Gordon, of course, along with Cameron, a big part of the offense. Cutting it back to the inside is Baker. It's spun down maybe after a 1-yard gain. This has been a porous Chicago defense, especially against the run. They rank dead last in the NFL.
Well, they've inserted Jeremiah Ratliff into the front along with Stephen Paya to see if they can stop that. And Major Wright and Chris Conti, the safeties, are going to have to be a big part of building the box we keep talking about to stop the run.
Second down and 9. Fozzie Whitaker has checked into the backfield for the Browns. And he'll get the ball. Looking for room, and not much there. Of course, it's been a trying year for the defensive coordinator of the Bears in his first season. Mel Tucker, born and raised right here in Cleveland, Ohio. Went to Cleveland Heights High School. His mom and dad are at the game today. His brother, they all live here in town. But look at all the injuries for this defense. Some big-time names on that list.
And this was a 10-6 football team that its strength was defense. It's a lot for Mel Tucker to come in. You can't look at those names and just say, well, they still ought to be good defensively. That's a lot of talent not on the field.
Third down and 8. They need to get just inside the 10 to convert. Blitz coming. They pick it up. Campbell delivered it right on the button, and the ball was dropped by Devon Best. That looked like a catch it should have been made for Best. That's his 9th drop of the year. 45 points, nearly 500 yards of offense. Josh McCown accounting for 5 touchdowns. Forte dropped behind the line of scrimmage by the Browns' leading tackler, DeQuell Chapman. Second down and 10. Forte once more, and once more he is leveled behind the line of scrimmage. The man who made the interception to Sean Gibson. Good protection. Cutler now has to throw. And it drops into the arms for a first down up to the 40-yard line once more by Martellus Bennett.
This is a drop coverage in a tough situation for Cleveland. Poyer finally shows up, but Martellus Bennett just sat in the middle of the field. Seemed like forever. Jay Cutler did move around in the pocket pretty well. That's always the question coming off the groin and the ankle. He looked strong there in getting the ball across his body to Martellus Bennett.
Bennett, with the 2 catches already today, has tied his career high for receptions in a season at 55 as a Giant, and now 55 in his first year with Chicago. In the hands of Alshon Jeffrey, first time he's touched it today, and that did not fool Craig Robertson. Inside linebacker in his second year out of North Texas, read it beautifully for Cleveland.
Well, Ray Horton, the defensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns, knows that Alshon Jeffrey on the reverse has been very productive for the Chicago Bears, particularly when you hit away with Matt Forte a couple times. They look for that reverse. They played it very well there.
Well, Jeffrey with over 100 rushing yards this season on just 15 carries. Second down at 13. Cutler threads a needle up to the 47-yard line, and once more that's Brandon Marshall. And certainly back when Cutler was healthy, going back even before he had the ankle injury, when he had the groin injury, you may remember, against Washington, Marshall is his main guy. You almost got the feeling that Jeffrey had become the favorite target for Josh McCown.
And I think the more Jay Cutler is around Alshon Jeffrey and Martellus Bennett, that he'll continue to go to those guys and learn and get that nuance that he already has with Brandon Marshall, given the time they had together going all the way back to Denver.
Third down, good protection again, and there's Jeffrey, and that converts on third down to the 45.
Well, these are the kind of throws that we're used to seeing with Jay Cutler, and why you know the Chicago Bears have such faith in him, because this thing, when it needs to come out, very few players can put this much speed and accuracy on the ball as can Jay Cutler. And I tell you what, talk about Ray Horton having this team ready for reverses and the like. He's got to start doing something besides a 4-man rush to get some pressure on Cutler, because right now there has been none.
Forte looking for a running room. Jackson there to wrap him up, but not before Forte picks up nearly 5 on first down. Cutler in 64 games with Chicago since coming over in the trade from Denver is in the franchise's top 2 in almost every major passing category. First in completions, attempts, passing yards per game, second only to Sid Luckman in total passing yards and passing touchdowns. 8th play of this drive, second drive of the afternoon for Chicago. And no running room there for Michael Bush. Billy Quinn, who's filling in for the injured, or the ailing Desmond Bryant. On third down, Forte is not in the game. They have Michael Bush in the backfield. Showing blitz, and here it comes. Cutler steps up, throws across the middle, and the catch is made by Brandon Marshall, and another first down to the 25-yard line. It's another area we've talked in the past. Cutler may not be the fastest guy around, but pretty nifty with the footwork.
And they keep dropping coverage. You're going to see this bunched up group over here. They bring outside nickel pressure. They don't get home, and they drop coverage down the field. That allows them another big third down conversion. Cutler moving in the pocket, stepping it away from pressure. That's twice on third long. They've dropped coverage to allow the conversion.
On third down, there is very little doubt who Chicago's main man is, and that's a man who just caught it, Brandon Marshall. Forte spun down after a gain of 8. Marshall on third downs this season, 22 receptions, and 19 of those moving the chains.
Well, the Bears are 4 for 4 today, and they've had 2 nice drives down the field. Obviously, the first one ending in the interception. But right now, Cleveland has not been able to stop Chicago, and it's primarily because of the conversions on third down.
11th play of this drive, second down and 2. At the Cleveland 17. Bush for a first down to the 10. Teams move, they move. Cleveland. Bears have the ball to the Browns' 11-yard line on first down. Forte for 2. Play this drive. They began from their own 20. They pitch it to Forte, looking to cut it back. And this swarming Cleveland defense stops him right at the line of scrimmage. So it brings up a 3rd down and almost 10. DeQuell Jackson, their leading tackler, need to get to the 1-yard line to convert here on 3rd down from the 10. Jeffrey chopped down at the 5. And Mark Trestman sends out the field goal unit led by Robbie Gould. Grayson Campbell, the Cleveland offense from the 20. Play fake. And out of the backfield, it's Obaniah, who is a very good receiver coming out of the backfield. That is his 42nd catch of the year, 3rd most on the Cleveland team.
And we talked about Cleveland not being a really good rushing team right now, and understandably they've gone through a number of different backs. Willis McGahee not even up today. You could tell in visiting with the coaches, less the quarterback position that's had its own rotation. It's the lack of the consistent running game and consistent running back that had them bothered more than the quarterback position.
Handed off to Obaniah this time, and the rookie Jonathan Bostic, the rookie filling in for the injured DJ Williams there on the tackle. Mark Trestman, 54 years young, out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, in his first year after spending the last 5 years north of the border in the Canadian Football League, winning 2 Grey Cup titles with Montreal. And Rob Jasinski, born and raised in Toledo, Ohio, grew up a Browns fan. Left the cold to play collegiately at the University of Miami. Third down and 7. And incomplete. Josh Gordon was looking for a flag on Isaiah Fry, and it is a flag that is thrown. So you have Henry Melton go down very early. Playmakers Briggs and Tillman slipping through some blockers. Up to the 34 is Edwin Baker. Of course, we saw the Redskins earlier. Fred Davis was buried on that depth chart. A couple of times was inactive. Campbell just throws into coverage and easily intercepted by Zachary Bowman. Poor decision there by Campbell, who throws just his 4th interception of the season.
Just simply here in the slot again, breaks to the outside, ill-advised, and an out and up. You think he figured Jordan Cameron was going to out-jump him for the ball.
So Jay Cutler and company get the ball from their own 40-yard line. Play action, Cutler looking down the field. Good coverage by Ward on Brandon Marshall, and Cutler took a shot from Phil Taylor. All day to throw. That one sails on Cutler. And fortunate there wasn't a defender behind the intended target, Brandon Marshall.
And you can see with Jay Cutler gave a little bit of the chest hits. My bad.
I know when I have
Times you prefer it in your face.
Well, it's in Cutler's face here on 3rd and 15. And batted at the line of scrimmage, the Bears will punt. So unable to take advantage of the interception. Out of the backfield, Whitaker met by Jennings after a gain of close to 5.
And they've had opportunities to get to Josh Gordon here, whether it's target or not. He's had some opportunities on the outside, gets off coverage there to the outside, and then rolls to the inside here. There's some opportunities, whether indeed Jason Campbell is going someplace else, figuring that the attention's going to go to Josh Gordon, but at some point, he's got to find him down the field.
Second down and 5. And they set up the screen to Baker, who makes a catch on the floater from Campbell. And he is just short of Browns have been very good in third and less than 3 the entire year, but they're going to throw it on 3rd and 1. Under pressure, just thrown away. Well, that tells you what the Browns must think of their running game against the worst running defense in the NFL on 3rd and 1. I mean, it was like the Senator walked in yesterday when Brian Dillon showed up there. Forte on first down, defended beautifully by the #1 pick, the rookie out of LSU, Arkevious Mingo. 3 and out on their last possession after 2 very impressive possessions in the opening quarter for Chicago. And now it's high and intercepted off the fingertip of Marshall's second interception for Gibson, who may take it to the house and does.
Well, and you're going to see, again, Brandon Marshall seems to be the only guy Jay Cutler's going for right here. They kind of swab it out. He's there, but it just high and to the outside.
So they would own a tie break. 10-3 Cleveland lead. Hester coming up to get it at the 10-yard line. Running it back the other way. Still on his feet. Still on his feet and run out of bounds close to midfield. An excellent return by one of the great all-time return men. And Cundiff was the guy who shoved him out of bounds. On first down, that's a tight end, Martellus Bennett. And a gain of close to 3, wrapped up by T.J. Ward. Of course, Cutler now in his 5th season with Chicago. This year started the first 7 games. The Bears went 4-3 in those games. He injured his groin against Washington, was inactive the following week. And the week thereafter against Green Bay, returned against Detroit, but injured his left ankle in the 4th quarter. Has missed the last 4 games and is playing today for the first time since November the 10th. Forte on the pitch with running room. And that's a first down to the Cleveland 33-yard line for Matt Forte, off to another big start here today.
Talk about the receiving. I want you to watch the blocking of Jeffrey and Marshall on the outside. Marshall seals the end there, and right there, Alshon Jeffrey doesn't exactly blow the guy up, but he gets in position. That's the thing that jumps out at me about these 2 big receivers. Not only are they the best tandem in the league catching the ball, this may be 2 of the best blocking receivers in the game.
Brandon Marshall certainly is about as good as it gets. Forte to the 30. You look at some of the blocking put on display by Marshall, getting Chris Houston, allowing Forte some extra yards in Green Bay. Devon House. Then last week, the big hit on Sean Lee.
Look at this one. This is a knockout, very legal knockout blow. You know, there's a maturity about Brandon Marshall now that you love. When I had a Chris Carter and all that Chris was, when Randy Moss came in, he had to kind of become the big brother. You see that in Brandon Marshall now. Excellent interview with Aaron Andrews in the pregame show about how he's taken on that mantle with the young Alshon Jeffrey.
Cutler all day to throw, and once more a little bit high, and unable to bring it down is Brandon Marshall. 3rd down.
There's no question Jay Cutler is not on the mark right now.
For 7 yards and an interception, returned for a touchdown. 3rd down, blitz coming. He gets it away. Jeffrey on the crossing pattern, trying to dive forward after taking the hit. Needed to get to the 23 for a first down. The question is, did he get there?
This is going to be close and leads to, what does Mark Trestman want to do? He's got to get something to get the juices flowing again for his offense. Does he go for it? If it's a little short, they've got to measure it.
Inside their own 5, under 5 to play here in the opening half. And Edwin Baker playing in his first NFL game. Gets a handoff and picks up 2.
You can see the penalties again. You can see at the top, and I question this a little bit. He's going in motion with just that little step. He didn't step forward. You're allowed that little step, and then on the right side again, you can see punches inside, reaches the outside. That was Barkevius Mingo on the outside, kind of tackles him as he goes down. That one was clear cut.
Second down and 8, throwing from his own end zone, and they drop it off to Obadiah. And he is just short, it looks like. Stopped by the leading tackler of the Bears, James Anderson. Needed to get up to, what, the 15-yard line, and he's about a foot short of that.
Norv Turner, the offensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns. Few coaches are more committed to the screen game than is Norv Turner. They've already hit a couple here. Every place he's been has been productive.
Remember the last time on third down and a yard, they threw the ball.
I don't think we can see that here.
Out of the I formation, they give it to the first man through. That's Obadiah, and that's good enough for a first down up to the 17. Browns have all 3 timeouts remaining, along with a 2-minute warning. This drive started inside their own 5, and now they're up 12 yards better than that.
Well, Josh Campbell's had his issues with throwing the ball down the field as well. Norv Turner, the offensive coordinator, one of the best play calling coordinators and head coaches in this league for a long time, having to deal with the rotating cast at quarterback. Jason Campbell is current starter.
And Campbell steps up. Catch made by the backup tight end. That's Gary Barnidge. And he's up to the 34-yard line. That'll be another first down. Well, this is your game. This is your show. Join the guys on Fox Football Daily every weeknight for the best insights, analysis, and interviews on all of football. Fox Football Daily, weeknight 6 Eastern, only in America's news sports network, Fox Sports 1. Clock continues to run down to 2:15. First down for the Browns in all 3 timeouts here in the opening half. Jason Campbell to Little. Short pickup. And run out of bounds up to the 40.
No, and I don't believe it now, and I've been watching.
Campbell on first down. Hit as he throws. On second down, I beg your pardon, and it's incomplete. 4-man rush. Better protection. And wide open was Gordon. And the ball off target. When he had the wind at his back, going 7 of 8 in the opening quarter for 100 yards. And here in the second quarter, with the wind in his face, really struggling. And a lot of running room for Cutler. He will tiptoe out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Clock stops with 1:21 to play in the half.
43. Go.
Only a 4-man rush. Jump ball for Marshall, and he comes down with a football. Marshall dragged down by Hayden at the 12. A 6'4" of Marshall against the 5'11" Joe Hayden.
And you can understand Joe Hayden having to hold on to the 6'4" Brandon Marshall. He's given up about 5-6 inches and about 40 pounds. He said he wanted to muscle up with this guy on his man-to-man. He's an excellent cover corner, but obviously the size differential, the vertical jump, tough duty for Joe Hayden.
And now first down. And Cutler drops it off to Earl Bennett. He's down to the 5-yard line. That'll be a gain of 8. And the clock now down to a minute, continuing to run.
And both these corners against the big receivers of the Chicago Bears. 6'4", 230 for Brandon Marshall. 6'3", he's actually closer to 6'4", 216. Hayden's 5'11". Screen is only 5'9". That is a tough combination for those guys to be as physical as they like to be one-on-one. And right here, he's right there. But this is the trouble with big receivers. You can have them covered, and they're still open and out muscling you for the ball.
And I'm curious if you're surprised the Bears huddled up there. They burned 30 seconds And it doesn't matter. On the next play, they go to the end zone and a touchdown to Brandon Marshall. Perhaps that's why they huddled up.
Well, and you've got the timeouts, so you've got all the time you need with the timeouts to work the clock. And again, we see Jay Cutler, Brandon Marshall. I don't know whether it's by design, whether Jay just happens to be looking there, but it is all Brandon Marshall when it comes to Jay Cutler right now. He's on the outside. He just runs a little pivot route. Earl Bennett on the inside, going to clear it out. Just a hard stick into the outside. Jay Cutler actually a little behind him on the throw. Joe Hayden just about got his hand in there. Jay Cutler needed to lead him just a bit.
Try and get into the playoffs.
Bring it up.
Bears trying to get there under their first-year coach, Mark Trestman. And now Edwin Baker up to the 38-yard line. And the Browns are going to spend one of their 3 remaining timeouts. Was named the NFC's Offensive Player of the Week after his Monday night game. And he goes to the bench. Obanai to the 48-yard line. And 2 seconds left. So perhaps we will see some semblance of a Hail Mary here.
Yep.
3-man rush. Campbell just going to step up and air it out. Out of bounds, and that's the way the first half will come to an end. Almost appeared here at halftime as though the winds have shifted a little bit. The flag, which was blowing in the end zone towards that side of the field, to your right looking at the screen. First catch of the game by Jordan. And Josh Gordon is up to the 33-yard line, and now blowing right back into the face of quarterback Jason Campbell. Zachary Bowman, his second interception of the game, and this one will be taken into the end zone, a touchdown.
Turnabout's fair play. This is just a miscue between Jason Campbell and Greg Little. You're going to see at the top, Little turns in as though he was expecting the ball to be a deep in. The ball was thrown to the outside like he thought it was going to be a comeback, and Zach Bowman saw the comeback and took it the distance. That's just a miscue and a bad throw right there. You can see Jason Campbell thinking he thought that Little was going to break to the outside on a comeback. He can't understand why Campbell or Little did not. Obviously a miscue. You zig when you should have zagged.
They'll be sitting and waiting for a while. The Browns got the football to begin the second half. The interception returned for a touchdown. So the Chicago defense right back out there. Ratliff wrapping up Edwin Baker on first down. That'll be a gain of 3. Ratliff playing in his 3rd game, 4-time Pro Bowler. So many outstanding years with the Dallas Cowboys. But then had the terrible groin injury last year and went over a year without playing in an NFL game until 3 weeks ago. Play fake to Baker, and then they drop it off to him. And still on his feet. We mentioned this is the first NFL game for Edwin Baker. Norv Turner out in San Diego drafted him in the 7th round in 2012. 15 weeks on the practice squad, was inactive for the final 2 games of the year. Then in 2013, the first 11 weeks of this year with Denver on their practice squad. Houston picked him up, put him on their practice squad. So now his 3rd team this season for Edwin Baker, and the first time he's playing in an NFL game. Interesting to know that Baker is getting a chance to play today. Is alongside Kirk Cousins at Michigan State. Let's check in downstairs with Laura Oakman.
Tom, we've seen Mel Tucker, defensive coordinator Mel Tucker, down on the field, which we've seen since the Bears bye week. He decided to come down because he said he wanted to be able to look the guys in the eyes and be able to make sure they were getting his message. That last defensive series, he yelled the last thing to the guys, huddled them up before they got in the field, and yelled, "Score or put us in position to score." I think the message was received there.
Was it ever? Mel very excited about being back here in Cleveland, where we mentioned he was born and raised, also coached here for 4 years. Down the middle, it should have been intercepted. Had an eye on Gordon. And that hit Conti right in the chest. Well, the question is, what would Rob Jasinski call? 3rd down and 8. And Campbell will run for the first down up to midfield.
The Bears brought a solid rush, but it all collapsed to the outside. If you're going to bring extra people from the outside, you have to stay firm on the inside. Watch in here as it all starts to spread. I see the pressure. I got 5, 6 guys bearing down on me, but all of a sudden the inside integrity, if you're going to bring that kind of outside pressure, James Anderson needed to stay firmer right in front of Jason Campbell.
380.
They clock down to 3-2, now 1. They get it off into the hands of Obadiah. And that'll be a gain of close to 4 on 1st down. Talking about all the rushing yards the Bears have allowed this season. Dead last in the NFL, but today facing a team that does not have a guy that's ever been a primary back in the NFL after the concussion suffered a week ago late in the game by Willis McGahee. Second down and 7. Blitz coming. They get it away. Catch made by Little. Cuts it back to the inside. He's to the 32. And that'll be a 1st down. And here we are closing in on the 10-minute mark. Josh Gordon without a single reception in this game.
Tom, we have to talk
the one, I beg your pardon. He had the one in this quarter.
Talk about the running game. We've got to talk about the trade of Richardson early in the year in Indianapolis. And that's the reason they've put themselves on this course and the rotating backs that they've had.
Marquise Gray, former college quarterback, out of the Wildcat. And now the 3rd string tight end carries it down to the 14-yard line. That is the 4th time he has run it this season. College quarterback in Minnesota.
Yeah, the familiar Wildcat, all of a sudden, just as a changeup. Marquise Gray is an excellent athlete, great hands, big athlete. This guy's 245, 250 pounds. You can use him as a fullback. You can use him as an H-back. It's interesting that they use him in this capacity when they do go to the Wildcat.
That was an 18-yard gain. Look at this formation.
Same thing.
Gray once more out of the Wildcat. And that's a read option. And that's what he used to run for the Minnesota Golden Gophers, and he's inside the 5-yard line. That's a way to get the run game cranked up.
Well, the Wildcat, I'm not a huge fan of the Wildcat, but only if you're not getting good play at the quarterback position. But obviously, it makes a difference for him here. It's a change-up look for an offense. This kid, I remember this kid at the University of Minnesota. They really thought he could develop as a quarterback. Never quite happened, but he was an outstanding athlete that they found a niche role for him here in Cleveland.
Now 1st down and goal. Standard offense here, and the first career touchdown for Edwin Baker. Last time he's been on the field, it was the final 2 minutes of the opening half. Had the screen set up one way. Cleveland had it read beautifully and dropped a yard behind the line of scrimmage. Is Cutler by Jabal Shear. Legends, in their own words, visit NFL.com/homecoming. Second down, and the catch is made by, once again, Brandon Marshall. It's been Marshall or bust for Jay Cutler today.
And it has, and I certainly understand going after Brandon Marshall the way that they do. I'm just a little surprised. We've seen a little bit of Martellus Bennett, but we've seen virtually nothing to Alshon Jeffrey. You know, Jeffrey's sitting here. He's got 3 receptions for 19 yards, but, you know, in the last 5 or 6 weeks, lead with McCown, it's been the balance of all these guys. He may have to find Jeffrey a little bit more in balance to Brandon Marshall.
And that was something that was talked about, written about a great deal with Cutler returning. How He tends to look in Marshall's direction so frequently, and that's a story today. Although Jeffrey here on the 3rd down reception to move the chains up to the 33-yard line.
And that's part of the rhythm we're talking about. Jay Cutler getting back into it. Cleveland, I mentioned a lot in the first half. They are committed to this 4-man rush, and it is not getting home much. Of course, you can't argue with it. There's been two turnovers, excuse me. So the mentality, look, he'll throw it to us if we give him a chance. So not wanting to commit more pressure, leaving more one-on-one outside with these big receivers, but they're not getting a lot of pressure so far on Jay Cutler with just a 4-man rush.
Forte, his first carry here in the second half, and that'll be a gain of close to 4. Cutler 15 out of 21, 182 yards. The touchdown in the final minute of the opening half, which tied the game at that time. And both of his interceptions have led to 10 Browns points. Enough, it appears, for a first down up to the 44-yard line. This guy is such an outstanding player, Matt Forte.
He does it all, obviously, in terms of rushing the ball. He's so three-dimensional. He's 4th in the NFL in yards per game this season. Excellent receiver out of the backfield, particularly with screens and little jump-offs, and really evolved into one of the best blocking backs, not just physically, but mentally, being able to go where he needs to protect his quarterback.
6,400 career rushing yards, closing in on 9,400 yards from scrimmage, second only to the great Walter Payton in Chicago Bears franchise history, and that's a gain of close to 8 on first down. Since entering the NFL in 2008, remember, Forte was a second-round pick out of Tulane. Only Adrian Peterson and Chris Johnson have more rushing yards than Forte.
Has a bit of an upright running style. I worried about him when he first came in, that he was going to be able to hold up to the beating, but like the Robert Smith I had in Minnesota, Eddie George on our set there back in LA, they were a little bit upright. Those guys were pretty good too. So
you say those names in these parts and you're thinking Ohio State Buckeyes. Bush still on his feet inside the 40, wrapped up all the way down to the 33-yard line. A penalty flag down on the field. Setting up the controversial game-winning Patriots touchdown. He replaces Hayden on this second down and 8. Pump fake one way, and Cutler hit as he throws, and it's incomplete. Paul Kruger, who had 2 sacks in New England last weekend. 3rd down and 8. Bears are 5 of 8 on 3rd down in the game.
Marshall's been the go-to guy on 3rd down.
Blitz coming. Bears pick it up. One man to beat. Martellus Bennett is down, but the ball is loose. And it's scooped up by T.J. Ward. No penalty flags. That is a touchdown for the Browns.
Martellus Bennett just trying to drive for the first down, getting stripped from behind by Billy Wynn. The ball gets knocked out, certainly short of the first down, and all of a sudden, much wants to keep his running mate back in with him.
That is Ward's second touchdown this season, and on first down, Forte right at the line of scrimmage, and as if on cue, T.J. Ward coming up to meet him. By the end of the day today, they could be number 3.
Yeah, because the Cincinnati Bengals now are lurking right around there to step into that number 2 spot.
And of course, Cincinnati has already beaten New England this season, and Cutler is sacked. Julian Posey, who's seen very little playing time. But after the injury to Hayden, he's in as an extra defensive back and coming in along with McFadden to drag down Cutler.
Don't encourage them, okay?
Cutler out of the shotgun. That's Earl Bennett in motion on 3rd down and 11. Butler steps up, throws, and that's not going anywhere. DeQuell Jackson standing right next to Earl Bennett.
380. 380.
Play fake. And they drop it off to Whitaker. And he is dragged down. Maybe a pickup of a yard, and that's maybe.
Well, they've gone to the screens all day long. Went to the well once too often there. It's been very effective for them, but a little predictable after a penalty and a long distance, trying to set up a more workable down and distance.
Well, and I would imagine some of the Browns fans are saying, hey, look, we ran that Wildcat. This is a former college quarterback. This is clearly something we worked on. Why not come back to that to begin this
series? And they might as we get inside the red zone. Seems to be that's where they haven't dialed it up.
Campbell finding Baker out of the backfield, and look at the strong running by Edwin Baker, and that's enough for a first down. Well, this is a young man making a name for himself, and this is his first NFL game.
Well, as you said, there's a familiarity there with North Turner, the offensive coordinator. Had him in San Diego, was familiar with him, saw the potential for the young man, and has gotten his opportunity here with the trading away of Trent Richardson and the injury to Willis McGahee.
Back in the hands of Baker. Ryan, you and I were talking a lot last week about the outstanding head coach at Michigan State University, Mark D'Antonio, and what a job he's done there. Of course, they pulled off the big upset of Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game you saw on Fox here last weekend. You're the starting tailback for Mark D'Antonio. You got to be a pretty good football player.
Yeah, you can be pretty tough.
Down the sideline looking for Josh Gordon, and it's incomplete, and the flag comes in. So a job well done. 3rd and 6. Campbell delivers to Josh Gordon, and that is a first down. Only the second catch of this entire game for Gordon.
Good about maybe the direction that this organization is going. It's been a tough haul for them over the last 15 years since they've been reconstituted here in Cleveland.
Make it one way, come back the other way. And a catch is made by the tight end, Jordan Cameron, who's also been very quiet here today.
You know, they've made a lot of dramatic changes here in Cleveland. You can see with the trade of Trent Richardson, they got 2 firsts, a second, 2 thirds, depending upon where their fourth round pick. They could have a lot of picks in that first 100 players to build on going forward with a good core offensive line. We've seen what they do defensively. They got Josh Gordon. They've got a good tight end. Need to address the quarterback situation. Things could look good here for Cleveland.
I saw Zachary Bowman, who has 2 interceptions, 1 return for a touchdown, left off the field. And now they put it in the hands of Obadiah. Penalty flag down. He had enough to pick up a first down. But
Ready. Relax.
Gordon went into his cut and fell down at the 30. 3rd and long coming up for the Browns.
Your routes.
At the very minimum, Cleveland trying to get close enough for a field goal try. And that one off target to the intended receiver, Greg Little. Cutler's first game back since early November when he injured his left ankle against the Detroit Lions. From his end zone, hit as he throws. And a flag will come in. It looked like McFadden never turned around. He had great coverage on Alshon Jeffrey. A 30-yard gain on the penalty. Cutler appears to be, when he got up, and even now limping around a little bit. Josh McCown starting to crank it up over on the Bears sideline. Cutler steps up, throwing down to Marshall. Flag on the play. But it's a 5-yard penalty. So they have picked up 35 yards with this drive starting from their own 5-yard line. On back-to-back penalties against the Cleveland defense. Incomplete. Trying to lay it off to Forte. And in both of those divisions, you have such a scramble for teams trying to stay in the hunt. Martellus Bennett short of a first down. Not by much. 3rd down and 2 upcoming for the Bears. Jackson on the tackle once more. 7-point Cleveland lead. Bears with a football. 3rd down and 1. They give it to Forte, and he has a first down to the Cleveland 44-yard line. Turnovers and points off turnovers, a story today. Gibson returning an interception for a touchdown. Zachary Bowman doing the same thing for Chicago. Wynn forcing the fumble. TJ Ward recovering the fumble, racing to the end zone for a touchdown. And that last scored the difference in this one with 12 minutes to go. Butler looking down the field for Brandon Marshall, and it's broken up. Gibson back there along with Buster Screen.
Jay Cutler kind of looking at Brandon Marshall a great deal. He seems to be too focused on Brandon Marshall for my money.
Nice play. Played by Phil Taylor, wrapping up Forte before he could get it cranked up. So another 3rd down. 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown. 3rd down. Fakes it to Forte. Steps up. Lost it to Jeffrey in the corner of the end zone, and the defender missed it, and Jeffrey caught it for a touchdown. A penalty flag is behind the line of scrimmage. A mistimed jump in the secondary on really just a...
Roughing the passer, number 97 on the defense. That penalty will be assessed on the kickoff and is a touchdown.
How in the world did this happen? Of course, there are a lot of defenses starting to wonder how Jeffrey seems to make all these plays.
Well, this could be the one we see on Fox Sports 1, and it seems to be all around Alshon Jeffrey. We saw the deep jumping touchdown against Minnesota, the great corner touchdown against the Dallas Cowboys on Monday night, and getting back into body position. This is just thrown up on a wing and a prayer by Jay Cutler. And he comes down with the ball. Alshon Jeffrey, I've been saying he needed to find Alshon Jeffrey. He found him.
First and 10 becomes 1st and 15. And Obadiah not going anywhere. Jeremiah Ratliff there to meet him. Out of the Wildcat, a couple of big runs. A touchdown drive in the 3rd quarter, but now in his regular tight end position. Crossing pattern, and that is Little still on his feet. Out to the 10. It'll bring up 3rd down. Gordon has 2 catches, 24 yards. Cameron 1 reception for 6 yards.
Gordon's down here at the bottom of the screen.
Good protection. And that is Gordon. Did he catch the football? Bears are saying no. Browns are trying to hurry, and now no. Incomplete. Good punt. Back at the 45, it is Hester. Breaking it to the right. Hester still on his feet and is run out of bounds by the punter Lanning. But with 9:09 left to go in a 24-24 game, Chicago with excellent field position. Pretty steady dose of Matt Forte, you would imagine here. That'll be a gain of a yard. You know, we brought up earlier against these Cleveland Browns scoring 2 touchdowns in the final minute, 1 second of the game. 2nd down for Cutler, and that's Martellus Bennett, the tight end. Tries to turn the corner. Wrapped up and dragged out of bounds, very close to a first down, depending on the spot. It looks like they will give him a good spot, and it's enough for a first down to the 30. In the last 2 weeks, it was Jacksonville 2 weeks ago. It was allowing 14 points in the final 61 seconds to lose against New England last week.
And Coach Jasinski knows that's great. to know that we're that close and we're building, but at some point you got to close these out. And that's the next step for his organization.
Pitch it to Forte. Inside the 10 and down to the 7-yard line is Matt Forte.
Now that was a fun play. Well designed. You're going to see Alshon Jeffrey come into motion here, fake the reverse, the speed sweep they call it, and then the quick pitch out to Matt Forte.
Talked about the blocking earlier. Jeffrey and Marshall. Good blocking there by the third receiver, Earl Bennett. So now the Browns are without Joe Hayden. They're without Tashawn Gibson in their secondary. And on first down, it is Forte. He's to the 3-yard line, maybe the 2. How about it, Laura Oakman?
Tom, they're evaluating Gibson right now. It looks like something with he's waving off the trainer saying he's fine, but they have ruled out Joe Hayden. He will not return with that hip injury.
All right, Laura, thank you very much. They're still taking a look at Gibson over on the Cleveland bench. Ball at the 2-yard line, second down and goal for the Bears. 6.5 to go in Cleveland. Dropped behind the line of scrimmage, and once more it is T.J. Ward. Oh, what a game and what a season.
What do I do, run the ball or throw it?
Third down and goal from just inside the 5. Cutler to Earl Bennett, and that is a touchdown. Everybody in the world watching Marshall and Jeffrey along with Martellus Bennett. But it is Earl Bennett who, for the second straight week, catches a 4-yard touchdown. That's a new career high for him, 4 on the year. And a touchdown lead for the Bears.
And that's exactly what they did. They put Brandon Marshall over the top on a quick corner, brought Bennett back underneath, figuring the coverage would drop.
Our good buddy Fred Dwyer. First down. Reception made by Obaniah. That's up for maybe a 2-yard pickup. Closing in on 5.5 to go. A must-win game for the Bears. Could you say, yeah, they could lose and still get in? Of course you could make that statement.
Oh boy, but
it would be true. But
particularly since, as we said, you're going to have to win the NFC North to get in, because I don't think the wild card is going to come out of this division.
You have an 8-5 Arizona team on the outside looking in right now for the wild card. Once more it is Whitaker, and that is good enough for Obaniah, I beg your pardon. The first down up to the 30. Have better records than those division leaders. Down the middle of the field. And Gordon went sliding into that one. Have to take a look at what may not happen there. Gordon. Campbell. Dangerous pass there, nearly intercepted by Fry. Let's go downstairs to Laura Oakland.
Doctors cleared him for this game, but he was involved in a minor accident last night.
Well, Laura, thank you for that update. Third down and 10. Campbell in trouble. Throws it high, and it's batted down by Tim Jennings. And a Browns
talked about Jake Cutler, Josh McCown. You go with Josh McCown when he comes back. Not going to cost you as much. Jake Cutler, if he comes back, he's going to have to be in those mega contract level, that $100 million level, if he's going to come back to the Bears.
Forte breaks it into the open field and is spun down at the 35-yard line on first down.
So that's the decision, and that's going to factor. That has factored in a little bit for the Chicago Bears. You know that Phil Emery and Mark Trestman have had those conversations about what they want to do with Jay Cutler. I think it's an indicator that indeed they stayed with him, have no questions about staying with him, that they intend to bring him back. They don't want to use the franchise tag. Doesn't mean they won't, but that's an expensive ticket, $16-17 million, and they've got some things to address, particularly on the defensive side.
Bears with a 7-point lead in the football. Just under 3:30 to play in Cleveland. On first down, it's Forte. And he is dragged down behind the line of scrimmage. Play made by Gibson. Forte over 100 yards rushing for the third consecutive game. Bears trying to go to 2 games above the 500 mark. Put it in the hands of Earl Bennett. And he slowed down.
Third of you didn't want to throw an interception. But if they can get a first down here, go into a solid 4-minute mode and draw down the rest of the clock and get the win.
They're going to run the football on 3rd down. Caught the Browns by surprise and look at Forte. All the way down to the Cleveland 40-yard line.
That's the exact same play they ran down in the red zone. We saw, you can see Alshon Jeffrey going into motion. They're faking this little jet sweep coming from the outside, and then the quick pitch on the outside to Forte. Jamad Bushrod down the field, Slauson down the field, looking for someone to block. Nice play on a 3rd and 10. Nice safe play so you don't have to throw the ball down the field.
24-yard gain. So now the Bears can run a play. Remember, Cleveland cannot stop the clock. Bears will run a play. The 2-minute warning will stop it after a first down. And this is Michael Bush. And Bush is into the end zone. And that is a touchdown for the Bears, which will keep their playoff hopes alive. A 2-touchdown lead with a little more than 2 minutes to go.
Well, the Cleveland Browns knew it was going to be a run. They brought everybody down in, but they didn't keep the gap integrity we talked about. Nice cutback by Michael Bush to go the distance for the touchdown and seal this for the Bears.
Well, they win over New England, and meanwhile, Miami has quietly won 5 of its last 7 games as Bess makes a catch up to the 30-yard line.
Well, and even more importantly, with Denver,
well, rather than the passing game, it's really been an unbelievably productive run game in the 4th quarter that has been a story. And the Bears coming with 21 unanswered points. They have rushed for over 100 yards in this 4th quarter alone. Now you're going to call everybody's name. Just a prevent defense for the Bears, not allow the big play if they want to complete an 8-yard pass as they do right there to Cameron, and so be it.
They're going to give them all this they want to take as long as it buys down the clock. But you're right about the running game for the Chicago Bears, and that's what Mark Trestman, he's totally committed to the balance. Yeah, they're going to run the West Coast quasi offense so you get the ball down the field. They got the monsters midway on the outside, but he wants to have that kind of balance.
Hold on a minute. It is a touchdown to Josh Gordon. First time they've been able to come up with the big connection between Jason Campbell and Josh Gordon. A big chance for the onside kick. Look at this, fake it with one guy, go to another guy, and able to pick it up is Brandon Marshall, and that's about the surest pair of hands in the bunch. A penalty flag is down. So now Chicago regroups and thinks about a big one next weekend in Philadelphia, where the Eagles were stung in a huge loss for them today at Minnesota. Well, coming up, the Pepsi game break. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy, the scores and highlights. Fox Sports Ticker. That is coming up right now.